The city of Forgetfulness was shrouded in perpetual fog. The mist curled around buildings and seeped into every crevice, cloaking the city in mystery. It clung to the cobblestone streets and muffled all sound, wrapping the city in a blanket of silence. No one remembered how the city got its name. The fog seemed to erase memories, leaving only a vague sense of unease.
I lived a solitary life above a dusty old bookstore, a relic from another time. The shop was filled with forgotten stories and faded dreams, each book a portal to another world. I spent my days mending torn pages and organizing shelves, keeping the past alive in a city that seemed determined to forget. The bookstore was my sanctuary, a place where I could lose myself in the pages of a good book.
Jim had worked in the bookstore for as long as he could remember, finding comfort in the steady rhythm of his work. He had no memories before this life. The fog had taken them, leaving only a blank canvas. The city had a way of erasing the past, feeding on memories and leaving only shadows behind.
One chilly evening, as I was closing the shop, I noticed a strange book tucked away in a dark corner. It was bound in ancient leather and fastened with a silver clasp, as if it held the key to the city's forgotten past. Intrigued, I reached out and picked it up, feeling the weight of hidden knowledge within its pages.
The book was heavier than it looked. It was as if the weight of centuries was embedded within its pages. Jim felt a strange energy emanating from it. The cover seemed to pulse with a life of its own. It sent shivers down his spine, a mix of fear and excitement. Curiosity got the better of him. He unfastened the clasp and opened the book. The pages crackled, releasing a faint, musty scent.
The pages were filled with strange symbols and intricate maps. Each symbol seemed to dance on the page. I'd never seen anything like it. The language was unfamiliar, yet somehow I understood it. One map in particular caught my eye. It depicted a winding path leading to a secluded mansion. The mansion was labeled the Keeper of Truths.
Jim felt a powerful urge to follow the map. It was as if the book was calling out to him. He closed the book, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known before, and took a deep breath. The air felt different, charged with the promise of adventure. With a deep breath, he took the first step on the path, ready to uncover the mansion's secrets. The next morning, Jim packed a small bag with supplies. A flashlight, a map, some food, and a few personal mementos were all he could carry. The weight of the bag was light, but the weight of his mission was heavy on his shoulders. He left a note on the counter explaining his absence. The note was brief but heartfelt, a few lines to let his loved ones know he was safe and that he had to do this. Then, with the book in hand, he slipped out of the bookstore and into the fog. The book was old and worn, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and ancient lore. It was his guide, his compass in the unknown. The journey was long and arduous. Each step felt like a battle against the elements. The path was uneven, strewn with rocks and roots. The fog made it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. He followed the map through dense forests and across treacherous mountains. The map was old, its edges frayed and its ink faded, but it was his only guide. The fog followed him, a constant companion. It was as if it had a life of its own, swirling and shifting around him.
It whispered secrets in my ear, but I couldn't quite make them out. The words were just out of reach, like a forgotten dream. As I traveled, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The forest seemed alive, its eyes following my every move. I would catch glimpses of movement in the shadows, dark shapes flitting between the trees, always just at the edge of my vision.
Despite his fear, Jim pressed on. He had faced many challenges in his life, but this was different. This was a journey into the unknown, a test of his courage and determination. He had come too far to turn back now. Every step he took brought him closer to his goal. The mansion was out there, somewhere in the fog, waiting for him. After what felt like an eternity, he emerged from the forest. The trees parted, and the fog began to lift, revealing a clearing ahead. The fog began to dissipate, revealing a grand yet dilapidated mansion perched atop a hill. Jim took a deep breath and started towards it, ready to face whatever lay within. The mansion loomed over him, its silhouette stark against the grey sky. It was once a place of grandeur. Now it was a decaying testament to forgotten memories. Vines crawled up the crumbling walls like grasping claws.
Jim hesitated for a moment, suddenly unsure. But the map had led him this far. He had to see it through.
He took a deep breath and approached the mansion. The iron gates creaked open as if they hadn't been touched in centuries. The air grew heavy with the scent of decay, and the silence was deafening. Jim stepped inside, feeling a chill run down his spine. He walked through dusty corridors, his footsteps echoing in the silence. The mansion seemed to watch him. He could feel eyes upon him. Yet he saw no one. Room after room was empty, stripped bare by time and neglect. Cobwebs hung from every corner and dust covered every surface. The only sounds were the creaking of the house and the beating of his own heart.
Then, he stumbled upon a room that was different. It was hidden behind a bookshelf in the mansion's old library. He had to push aside hundreds of books to reveal the entrance. Jim felt a surge of excitement. This had to be it.
He stepped through the doorway and into a small, dusty chamber. The air was thick with anticipation. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and upon it lay a massive, leather-bound book.